So it's Monday afternoon, and there are a number of things that we're going to show you. Probably this will be a compilation kind of piece so that you'll see every day what's actually happening with the drywall. But before we get there, I'd like to just show you, we've gone out and got some compost that we'll use to top dress basically many of the beds. And we also brought in a load of 10 yards of triple mix that we'll be putting on top of all of the beds once we start bringing them into production in the next couple of weeks. So that material is here, ready to go. Another garden piece. What I'm going to show you is some bare root trees that we received late last week. And Trisha's got them soaking in water for a day or two before we start digging holes tomorrow. So these will be fruit trees and a few smaller bushes. There are grapes in here.
And there's black currants.
And black currants.
Plum, pear, and apple.
You want to say it one more time?
Plum, pear, and apple trees, black currant, and grapes. 2 of each of those.
Right, and so they came in the mail, Canada Post, which is kind of interesting. Got lots and lots of live materials in Canada Post these days.
Hi there. Oh, I'm a little out of breath now. I've been planting some fruit trees. So we got some fruit trees from a nursery in Quebec called Hardy Fruit Trees, and they send them by Canada Post, bare root, and so we received them at the end of last week. So I had them in the cold garage, and yesterday I unboxed them and I put them in water a little bit. So there's a couple I've planted already. I've planted, this one's a apple tree, and over here's a pear tree, and the stakes way over there in amongst our tiny raspberry bushes are plum trees. Now the plum trees have to be within 15 feet of each other to pollinate. The pear trees have to have an apple tree nearby to pollinate. So what we're doing along this stretch, you can see the red markers there. That's our property line going out towards the house. So we're putting some fruit trees along this side of the driveway. So far we have a pear, an apple. Now we're doing a pear, and then we'll do another apple. So the idea is that you need a hole about, because they're bare root and they're only small, they're only 1 to 3 feet, needed about maybe a foot deep and a foot wide. It's quite rocky, so now we've kind of got to that point. So now he's just loosening up the soil beneath that where we're going to put the pear tree. So I'm going to gather the other pear tree, and I'll let you see what else we have. These bushes here, we did in the fall. My son's in-laws were getting rid of them to put in a garage, and we had to kind of quickly plant them, and it was dark when we did it, so we call it a midnight rescue planting for those bushes, but they survived the winter. So here are my plum trees, and here are my tulips coming up that I planted last fall. And as you can see, these raspberry canes have buds on them. So they're pretty much amongst here. So I kind of picked spots that were in between the raspberries. Okay, so we need another pear tree. Here's the pear tree. There we go. So you can see all the bare roots. So we've got another apple, and then we have some black currants, 2 black currants, and 2 grapes yet. So we have to figure out where they're going to go yet. But I think the black currants are going to go probably further down the line, closer to the driveway. So here's my bare root. And as you can see on this bare root, there's where it was grafted onto the root. And that has to stay above the soil. So what we're going to do, Raul, if you want to take the camera. We put this across so we've got the height of the, and we can put that in. And we can put the root so that you can see that that cane or that grafting place is above there, so it will definitely be beneath the soil. What the fruit tree place suggested is that you don't put anything extra in to plant them. Use the soil that it's going to go into. Put them into 2 different piles, 3 different piles, but so this is what we took out at the end. So that is going to go in first. When you put it on a plastic bag, it's easy to put it all back in again as well. So you can see that grafting point is still above the soil, and then you just gently tamp in the soil around. Now this where these sticks are going to, we're going to tie it to these sticks. And we put the sticks in right away too, so they'll have a good base as well. So that's that one. One more to go. Oh, right. So now it's suggested that we put in compost.
You want to get in on the fun?
No, I have a trunk full. I have a trunk full.
Of what?
I've got a baby doll. Oh, various things.
This is our neighbor.
Various. I got a turtle.
Pardon?
A turtle.
A turtle?
A great big cement turtle.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I have all different things.
Ah,
Oh,
Some
look at
hybrid
that.
hibiscus?
Someone's getting itchy for spring.
I am, although I have to baby it for a bit, eh?
Yeah.
Get our that thumb on.
We've got our hibiscus at our
Montessori?
daughters and in the
Montessori
Montessori
school.
school.
Oh,
All winter. We
went
have
out
some
to
big
the-
ones.
a big garden, something on the river.
Yeah.
The road.
Right.
A nice, really big one.
Okay. Okay, so they suggest not to put compost around touching the actual tree because it could burn the root or the sensitive little tree. And then to put in on mulch. So we're using some straw, since that's that's what we have. And you can see I'm not putting that right up against it either. I'm kind of making a well. And so that will hold water better. People, when they plant, they tend to make a volcano, and they said that that's not good for rot. It will rot your
That's the part.
plants.
Oh. He looks real like he's gonna come up. Yeah. Oh,
Good.
he's dirty. He'll lay in. She said you'll have to wash him off, but I'm going to put him up by the pond.
Right.
Just
where-
wait a little while and he'll get rained on.
Yeah, well he will, because he's staying there till I can take him with my wagon.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you want me to use the wagon?
Oh no, I have mine in there. I've got everything all shoved on this side, eh?
Uh-huh.
Winter. Okay, so
Right.
Okay.
Ready for the next one?
Next one. Last one. Well, for now.
You want me to?
Sure.
Or do you want to start? You want the distinction? The pleasure?
I gotta go a little bit bigger than that. Otherwise you're not gonna have room to take out the shovel. You certainly have more strength at that than I do, that's for sure.
That layer of topsoil is very shallow.
Yeah.
And then we're into gravel. So the gravel is, at least from a geological perspective anyways, the gravel was all left behind as the last ice age receded from this area. That's why you end up with these hills like off in the distance, and other bigger ones that are left around. So those are all referred to as moraines, terminal moraines, etc. They were just left behind when the ice was. So the ice came through, scraped much of the land, particularly the really soft soil that's found down in the Great Lakes. Lake Ontario is south of here, off in that direction. And when it melted, it just left materials where they had been piled up. So you end up with these hills all over the place. And this gravel is part and parcel of that. So the gravel is scraped from further north and left here when the ice couldn't carry it anymore.
Oh, the sound of scraping rock. Yuck.
And then further north, you come across spaces where the Canadian Shield, so the granite and the limestone that's underneath the space, is right at the surface. So there may be a little bit of topsoil, and then you hit bedrock, or you'll see the bedrock right on the surface. So it's just a little bit further than we are, when it's referred to as the Canadian Shield. So large portions of bare rock that have been scraped clean by the last ice age, however many millions of years ago. And we have this to left over. We should actually have a conversation when we get back into the garden itself as to how we're dealing with this, because we are not digging down into this garden, or into this soil, because there's not much point to it. It's not rich enough to be able to support all the vegetables and things that we're liking to grow. So we're putting additional soil, building additional soil up over the years to grow in.
Yeah, so with our vegetable garden, we're using we'll just quickly, the no-dig method, which we did last year, and it was very successful. We had a pretty good crop. It was quite weedy if we didn't get on top of the weeds, but then we weren't here all the time either, so it'll be better this year. But across the way, you can see I got a whole 10 yards of triple mix delivered yesterday. And so triple mix is three things. It's soil, compost, and peat moss. That's all put together, and this time it's screened, so we can just put it directly on the garden beds. So we'll put about 3 inches of that triple mix on the garden beds, and then I have bags of organic mushroom compost that I bought locally as well, and that will dress the top of the soil, and then we'll plant directly into that. So that is going to, over time, we do that every year like that, it will build up the soil quite nicely.
I think we're ready.
Are we ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay, I'll go get it.
Just carrying on with what Patricia was talking about. We also, last year we only had tarps over top of the beds that hadn't been started yet from beginning of April to Victoria Day weekend, third weekend in May. This year we put the tarps on right away in the fall, and they've been staying there, so they've been covering over all of the materials that were left over, plus the soil, conditioning it, getting as much to break down as we possibly can. We'll still end up with some, particularly the lamb's quarter that we had growing in abundance last year. We'll still have to pull some of that out, but most of the beds will be in very good condition, and we'll be able to actually pull them up. So Patricia's coming over with, I think, the apple tree.
Apple tree. Wolf River apple tree.
A Wolf River apple tree. Oh, I forgot to.
Found in the stick.
It's facing you.
It's not going in very far. So you can see on this one, there's our graft into the root. And we'll put it down.
Hand the camera back.
Okay.
You push it down right by the stick, because the stick's not really standing up by itself either.
What?
Okay, a little bit.
Okay.
Well, you can put a lot more pressure there because it's actually on the stick, and there's
On the stick,
none of the roots are there.
Do you want to get a bag of compost?
Sure.
Our trusty little wagon, which we've nicknamed Henry. Yep. So here are bags of mushroom compost. That's probably good. I'll get it. There's a little bit more in there.
Tag came off the tree.
I hope it doesn't matter that this is a little bit moldy.
It's supposed to be mulch?
Yeah.
Mulch is supposed to be breaking down, Trish. It's fine. Mold just means that it's starting to do that.
Now we have to
Clean up.
I can do that later.
I think we're going to finish this off. So I walked down to the end of the lane to pick up our recycling bin. We have recycling paper, cardboard in one of our two bins, and plastic, glass, and metals in the other. And we typically will have enough materials to actually be picked up on a weekly basis now that we've moved back into the trailer. Garbage day is on Thursday, but we seldom have enough garbage. Well, here you can see that we've actually gone around the property and picked up some garbage, so we'll be putting that out on Thursday. But we seldom have garbage because most of our materials go into compost or into recycling. Very little is left over for garbage itself, and we'd like to minimize that as much as we can. We leave our bins outside, and as a consequence they are subject to the wind, so we have to be very careful to make sure that they don't blow away on us. I don't know if you've seen Trisha's nursery that we set up a couple of days ago. So this is a small little, I have to be careful as I'm walking here because there's internet cable on the ground. So Trisha set up a bit of a nursery, moving the plants from inside the garage to this greenhouse that we purchased in Lee Valley.
No, it's not from
No?
Lee Valley. It's from PC Finance.
Oh.
PC,
TV?
no,
TV Mart?
from Loblaws.
Oh, it's from Loblaws. Okay. Anyways, you can see it's considerably warmer in there than it is out here. I feel the humidity coming off of the plants, and
Smells
you can
like a
see
greenhouse.
that they are growing quite well, except for those ones over there that Patricia transplanted, but it doesn't look like they transplanted very well.
English cucumbers.
They're English cucumbers apparently. But the rest of the plants look like they're doing fine. So they have 3 weeks until we're ready to plant them out. Because that's our last frost date. Usually May 24th weekend, Victoria Day weekend. Can't remember if that's 24th this year or not.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Doesn't happen always. But sometimes it does. May 24. Alright, so I think I'm going to finish this off and we'll catch up with you again sometime soon.